Something magic happens every time you go. Make the magic happen. Make the magic happen.
Hey-oh, we're back. It's the Orioles Spastics, the one and only Orioles baseball / Arrested Development fan
is this real?
podcast. This is real. This is real. This is your host, Dean Eastlake, joined today by Chris Knightsey and maybe by Charlie Hoppus. No one really knows where he is.
Boo.
And lucky all of you out there in Orioles Spastics Nation, we have a guest star for you today, Mr. Benjamin Fisher.
Hey, yo.
Here,
Greetings,
are we
Oriole
clapping?
Nation.
Yeah, okay, there we go. We can all clap.
Put the clap in there later.
Oh yeah, I can just put in a clap. So welcome, Ben. Welcome to our humble abode.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Long-time listener, first-time guester.
Perfect.
Ben, of course, is joining us today because he is a devoted fan for the Seattle Mariners. Also, did anyone just see Adam Jones crush the wall?
No, wait, what happened?
Catch? He
hurt himself?
he's fine.
I think we need to address the fact that the guy who just hit a triple took lessons in the off-season on how to run.
Nice.
Wait, who was it?
I'm so far behind.
Jesus Montero. He literally took lessons on how to run.
Jesus.
Look who's up right now. Charlie would like to at least extend his warm welcome of Robert Andino to the Seattle Mariners for you, Ben.
Oh, I appreciate it.
The curse of the great Andino is what we're calling.
He recently took over the starting shortstop role, so we'll see what happens.
Brent
That's what we hear.
and Ryan, too awful, I guess.
Yeah.
Wait, they switched back to Andino? I thought they went Andino to start the season, then went to Ryan, and now they're back to Andino?
No, this is Andino's first shot at the starter spot.
Well, shows
Which
what I
I
know.
think he just struck out on 3 pitches, so we'll see how that works out.
So did Chris Davis in his first at bat. Good start. So we at least want to start and give an apology to Spastics Nation. There's been an outrage about when the next podcast is coming. I mean, really, we just let the success go to our heads. Is that about the story of it, Chris?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I was feeling really high on that, that success of the first 2 episodes and kind of was just riding that for a while. But I also, moved to a different place. So that kind of attributed a little bit too.
Oh, you used your stipend from the profits of the podcast to
I decided
upgrade.
to move to new places.
Right.
Bigger and better.
And where would that new place be?
Albany, New York. The heartland of New York State government. But it's nice. It's been warm. There's a park about a half a block from our house that we like to just hang out in. On the
How
weekend.
far are you from the yard?
How far? About 6 hours. 6 hours.
Okay. Well,
a little too far to go for a game, a night game, impromptu. I'll make it down eventually.
I hope so. And hopefully Charlie will make it out to his first game.
Yeah, I've gone to 2 already. I hope I just beat him after moving a month into the season.
What a chump. Hopefully he doesn't even join us. So, Ben.
Yes, sir.
Long time no talk. We're good buds in college. Why don't you, I don't know what to say.
Let me give you a brief update on what's been going on in my life recently.
Why don't you tell me things about your life now?
Yeah, we've been down here in Nashville, Tennessee for a couple of years now. No professional baseball within 3 or 4 hours, but Nashville does have the Brewers AA team here, the Nashville Sounds. So try to get out to approximately 1 to 1.5 of those games per year. So, yeah, Nashville's good. Just spent this past few days out in San Francisco. Got to head out to an A's and Angels game to scout the O's next opponent. It was the 19-inning game, so I stayed for only maybe 2/3 of the game, but it was a doozy. Yeah.
That's good.
Some fun fans out there. If any of you Oakland fans are listening, it was a good time out on the outfield bleachers.
Did you never move closer to the game throughout that whole?
No, they were too fun.
All right.
Yeah, they had all these like fun dances and flag waving and superstitions and stuff. Like it was really compelling.
That's great when like only about a third of your stadium's ever like filled up. You can just do so much stuff in the bleachers.
Exactly.
What don't they have? I forget from last year. They have, I think it's their closer, someone that comes in to pitch, and the whole stadium does creepy freak dances.
Is that what it was? We didn't know what was going on. That was so bizarre.
I know there was a dance thing that went on with the A's. I can't remember what it was. I saw the video of it earlier in the season. It was the Bernie, right? They did something with Bernie?
Yeah, and it was all like really spontaneous and couldn't quite figure out what was going on. Also, I think the strangest thing that happened there was we found out somebody was friends with J.J. Reddick and was selling clippings of his hair in Ziploc bags. I don't know why.
J.J.
Oakland,
Reddick.
huh?
We also hate J.J. Reddick,
Mm-hmm.
Duke. Who does he play for? He doesn't play for the Magic now. He
No,
plays
he
on
just
a playoff
got traded.
team. Yeah. I was just watching it last night.
That team that he plays for.
That team, he's doing a admirable job. So Ben, not only is he a Mariners fan, but he's also a seasoned Arrested Development fan, as we are on the Orioles Spastics podcast. So we promised you highlights from the first 10 episodes.
I said J.J. Reddick. I meant Josh Reddick, the A's outfielder.
Oh, that's a totally different person.
Sorry.
That is not even close.
So
basketball playoffs.
I was wondering where
Sorry.
they intersected, but I thought I was missing something I didn't want to expose.
Josh Reddick. This is why we have editing.
No, that's
No, keep that.
So that will stay. So Arrested Development episodes 1 through 10. Ben, I know you weren't a part of the original plan to watch those, but I'm sure you've watched them recently. Do you have a highlight of maybe one of the first 10 episodes that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Yeah. So I in the past few hours, I went back through kind of a refresher of what happened in the first 10, and one of my all-time favorite moments from the series is the Mr. Manager conversation. When Michael tells his son, "You're going to be Mr. Manager now," and it just is kind of the best.
No, we just say manager.
Exactly.
But you just
said
be
Mr. Manager.
Doesn't matter who. That's very good.
Yeah.
Very good. How about you, Chris?
My favorite moment / quote actually happens in the first episode. I think it really sets the tone for Job's character when Michael asks about one of his magic tricks, the Aztec. I guess was it the Aztec tomb?
The Aztec tomb. Yep.
Yeah, the Aztec tomb. And Job responds with, "It's an illusion, Michael. Tricks are something whores do for money." That was probably my favorite, and it came in the first episode.
And then I like how it pans out, and there's a bunch of children that are looking at him appalled, and he
Yeah,
says,
whoops.
"Or candy." I'd say my favorite moment from the first 10 episodes comes when Job is swallowing a key before he goes into prison to pull his prank, and he tries various ways to consume the key, and at the very end, he's finally shirtless with a bottle of Jameson, and he's finally swallowed it, and then he's like laughing. He's like, ah!
I fail to see how Jameson would help you swallow a key.
It's so good. Oh man. So that's one of my favorite, really, of the entire show itself. So, in the first 10 episodes, I haven't talked a lot of baseball yet. What the O's have been doing lately. We won't go so far back as to our last episode. We'll just look at the last 2 series. So we're in the middle of a 20-game-in-a-row streak, which is pretty brutal, I guess. But
yeah,
I don't know if
especially
common
West Coast
baseball. Yeah, a lot of West Coast travel. So 2 series ago was Toronto. So Chris, you want to give us a rundown of how that series went?
Well, they went 2-1, and I noticed that all 3 of the games were actually 1-run games, which is pretty interesting. And then also a man named Josh Stinson got a start, and he pitched, I think it was 5 innings, gave up 4 home runs on 5 hits. So 4 of 5 hits were home runs.
Is he a Tommy Big Game protege?
No. He doesn't throw the heat like Tommy Big Game Hunter does. Doesn't bring it.
Yeah, I was very perplexed by the Stinson call-up. It seemed like we had at least Britton. I guess we got him later. But
well, yeah, I think, I don't know. I guess I don't really understand it either. I guess they maybe just wanted to see what he had, which was nothing.
And he was previously in Single A, like he was in.
Yeah, he's been in the majors. I was wondering I think that was probably just about getting him innings and starts and stuff. But no, it didn't work out. I don't think he'll be coming back.
Yeah, it looks like he's down for good. So let's see, we went 2-1. You're right. It kind of seemed like we gave away the game for the sweep, bringing up Stinson, but
yeah,
whatever. We came back really. I mean, we only
lost by 1 run.
He didn't get the loss. Oh well. Then we went out to the West Coast. Started our West Coast travels. Went to Oakland and did awesome. Really, we went 3-1 against Oakland. Again, lost the series cap to not quite complete the sweep, and Pedro Strop came to the rescue to blow the sweep. So Charlie, why don't you tell us a little bit about that series, what you saw? Oh right, Charlie's not. So Charlie,
what a jerk!
Thanks for joining, Charlie. Where were you?
Thanks and goodbye.
Oh wait a second, Charlie actually is here.
Here I am.
Here you are. All right, gentlemen. Well, this is a good podcast. I relish this. Good to catch up.
Are you there, Charlie?
Yeah.
Oh, so tell us about the Oakland series.
Am I missing a joke?
No, we're just picking up where we left off.
Yeah, how nice of you to join us.
Perfect timing.
The Oakland series.
Yep, the Oakland series.
There is so much foul ground in Oakland. It's awful. It's devastating. That's my main takeaway from the Oakland series.
Damn, I can't even be mad. Well, that was the Oakland series. So, Ben, you are here to give insight on our current enemy, the Mariners of Seattle.
Yeah.
How's your season gone so far?
I think describing it as an unmitigated disaster would be a little too strong. But clearly the off-season moves were maybe a bit overambitious and not worth it. The front office this off-season seemed to have the idea that bringing in veterans past their prime who could no longer hit or play the field would be kind of the winning formula, but it hasn't worked out that way. I think the best thing to come of it is a pretty amusing low-light reel of Raul Ibanez trying to play the outfield.
Don't mention he who must not be named on this podcast.
Yeah, I mean, this is his third stint with the Mariners, and it's by far the roughest. You guys are lucky because this series, the two starting pitchers for the Mariners who are actually pitching well this year are not pitching against you guys, and
it's true.
The rest have been kind of a disaster. Although this was the first time that Joe Saunders gave up any runs at Safeco Field, so that's something.
Smoking Joe.
Sweet revenge, I guess.
This was his first start at Safeco, right?
His third, I believe.
Oh.
He pitches lights out at home and lights on elsewhere.
Lights on.
Fire on elsewhere.
I guess. So yeah, it's been a rough season. We've lost 2 series to the Houston Astros, which is kind of a consensus AAA team, and it's been bad. Mike Morse hits a lot of home runs, but nobody's on base for him. But rubber match tonight, huh? Let's see what happens.
Yeah, at current time, there's some commercial playing in Japanese, but I think it was 3-0.
I don't get the commercials.
Oh, really? What is going on?
Do you use Google Ad Blocker?
Using Ad Blocker, you may be able to use the volume or go full screen. Instead, I'm watching ping pong. Right, it's 3-0. Yeah, how about the game tonight? It's 3-0. Well, how about the series so far? We've split. Joe Saunders with a little domination.
Yeah, that was the first complete game by a Mariners pitcher this year.
Yeah, and the Orioles can't seem to have a pitcher get to the 6th inning. So
yeah, that's been a problem.
If only we hadn't gotten rid of Joe Saunders, none of this would be happening.
Why?
Also, Robert Andino had a great game that same game. He was clutch.
Yeah, and
the great Andino.
He's hitting an impressive 196 so far.
Oh, is that better than Brendan Ryan?
Here's a good question. Yeah, the Brendan Ryan, Robert Andino swap. Now, all stat heads are all over Brendan Ryan. They think he's the greatest fielder in baseball right now.
Ozzie Smith.
Yeah, he's one of the best ones in like a decade. And while he obviously can't hit, they're all upset that they would make this change to Robert Andino, who also can't hit, but can't hit slightly less than Brandon Ryan can't hit. What do you think about that? How much does Brendan Ryan really add to the Mariners, and are you happy about the change?
I mean, in addition to kind of all the stat heads loving him, I mean, he passes the eyeball test. He makes great plays that would be out of the range of a lot of people. He's got a strong and accurate arm, and yeah, I disagree with the change. I think Andino maybe hits a little better, but is not close to as good in the field, and I think the Mariners are a worse team with Andino starting over Ryan.
How dare you?
Sorry. The thing Andino brings to the team is his versatility and the ability to play multiple positions. And by having him start at shortstop, it takes away one of his biggest strengths.
Did Andino jump around that much?
For us, he was mainly the second baseman, but he's a utility infielder.
Right.
He's a utility infielder.
He's not a bad one. He's fun. I mean,
he's no Jeff Rabelais, or Mark Macklemore, if we're talking about the Mariners here.
You know, I thought always that the rapper Macklemore was named after Mark Macklemore with his heroics in the '95 season.
Yes.
But Wikipedia does not cite that as a reason for him being named what he is.
Is there a different reason?
Yeah, it was just like people started calling him Macklemore.
No, I think there was an interview somewhere. Maybe I'm making that up.
I hope that's what it is.
Next Mariners Orioles series, we will get to the bottom of this.
All right. You heard it here first.
Right.
So not only are the Orioles playing the Mariners currently, but we have a great history with the Seattle Mariners. A few faded years ago, we made maybe the best trade of all time with the Seattle Mariners.
Oh, dear Lord.
In which Eric Bedard, Adam Jones, Chris Tillman, amongst others, were involved. So before we really dive into that trade, we like to play a little game called Point Counterpoint with Charlie and Ben here. So I'll throw out a name, a player, and each of you will have, a minute to give your positive outlook on said player or your negative outlook on said player. So the first player we want to do here is Eric Bedard, and we'll start with Ben. And Ben, you have a minute to defend Eric Bedard and tell us everything that is good about him.
Sure.
And you may start.
When healthy, Eric Bedard is one of the more dominant lefties in the game. I am out of positive things to say about him already. I hated that trade and him. I will say one of the more positive things about that trade was because he was so hurt for so long, I think he just felt so guilty about how badly he screwed the Seattle Mariners that he signed for a very low-cost free agency year that they ended up getting some value out of him, I think just out of a sense of guilt. But I don't want to take my whole minute. I'm out of things to say.
Oh, that was cute. All right, Charlie, your go.
I feel bad about this.
Oh, no.
Okay. Eric Bedard, when healthy, is one of the best pitchers, or best left-handers in the game, or was. And the last time he had his career high in starts is 33. He had that once and hasn't reached 30 before or after that time. And that sort of tells you all you need to know about Eric Bedard. Apparently, he pitched for the Red Sox last year, or in 2011. Did you know that? I did not know that. He pitched for Pittsburgh. He's currently pitching for the juggernaut Astros, and he has a 7.98 ERA in 14.2 innings. That's my cons of Eric Bedard.
He did get his first career save this year with the Astros.
Oh yeah, so he does. Giving him a 162-game average of 0 saves per season. That's a fun stat. Yeah, it's too bad what happened with Eric Bedard. For a long time, he was the only reason to watch the Orioles. Or for a season or two, he was one of the only reasons to watch the Orioles. And I wish that he had had a better career. Even when we traded him, I didn't feel any hostility or anything. And it's sort of too bad that he didn't pan out. But I'm okay with the haul that we got. That turned out okay. Starting with Flat Breezy.
You're okay with it?
Remember Flat Breezy?
Flat Breezy.
Flat Breezy.
George Sherrill.
Any rebuttal there, Ben? Did you? No.
No, I mean under the Mariners' previous general manager Bill Bavazzi, there was kind of a series of just tough trades that did not pan out for Seattle, and this was maybe the pinnacle of them.
All right, so the other player in that trade, well, I mean, you're a guest star. You got to have things tough. The next player will be Adam Jones. So Adam Jones, big piece of this trade. Is the jury still out on him? I don't know. So Ben, no, we'll go Charlie first this time. Charlie, the good about Adam Jones. You have a minute. Proceed. Nope.
Charlie, right? You said Charlie?
That's the one.
Sorry. I had my microphone.
Real quick, Dean,
on
how much time do we have left?
I don't know.
I had my microphone on mute. My bad. Adam Jones, I have the positive or the negative with him?
Pause.
Positive. I mean, he's an all-star outfielder. He loves Baltimore. He just bought a house here.
Is he a superstar?
Is he a superstar? Yes, I would say so. And I think he's a superstar because while there's a lot of players that equal his type of production, he's somebody that the city can embrace and that the team can embrace. Sort of the last time we had someone like that was Tejada, and then before that it was Cal. And that's so long ago. And Tejada wasn't that good for that many years for us. Adam Jones is only 27 and loves Baltimore, loves being here, and it's hard to not be excited about that. He's just entering his prime right now. So if he has even some years that are comparable to last year, we have a great player that I'm excited to have.
And good start so far. All right, so the bad about Adam Jones, Ben, I hope it has something to do with blowing bubbles. Go.
Well, I don't know so much about the bubbles, but obviously a great player and a outstanding center fielder. I don't watch the O's as much as you guys do, but I haven't seen him control the plate as much as some of the elite players in the game do. I think he's right around the age where, maybe he should be peaking, and I think there is a bit more to be desired at the plate perhaps. But you guys probably know more, and feel free to disagree with that.
He does chase the low breaking balls, and he tends to blow bubbles at the wrong moments.
I don't know. What's the story with that?
It's really nothing. He's always
Jones.
He's always blowing bubbles whilst in the field, and just every once in a while, if he ever muffs a play, he just happens to be blowing a bubble at the same time. So everyone will be up in arms about, if he wasn't blowing bubbles, he would have made the catch. It's just not that's nothing. Ain't no thing. So let's dive in a little bit more into this Mariners O's series we got going. It's 1-1 currently. So Ben, what do you got to say about the series so far?
Yeah, well, I think one interesting thing is that when the Mariners brought over Robert Andino in the beginning of the year, in spring training he made some comments about how this Mariners team felt like the Orioles team from last year and how they kind of got that magic in a bottle and fought their way to the postseason. Everyone who's seen the Mariners so far this year has really seen that the team that's been playing now is not close to that level. And so with aspirations to be the Baltimore Orioles of 2012, the 2013 Mariners look like a significant disappointment so far. I think this will be an important series for them to keep some momentum going. They just beat the Angels 2 out of 3. So I think this could be telling. And we're up 3-0 right now, so here's hoping we pull out the victory tonight.
Wow. Quite the analysis of the entire Mariners team there.
Yes.
No, that was good.
This is my first time. I don't know how this goes.
I've just been trying to keep from coughing.
Yeah.
So.
No, so I'll focus more on the actual series so far. So in the first game, obviously we know that Joe Saunders, Elimination Joe, was pretty dominant going the whole game. Second game, what I noticed the most from the actual Orioles team was a lot of those runs, the 7 runs we got, were actually, a lot of them were produced from the bottom of the order, which has not been common this entire season. When you have like Hardy, Wieters, and Flaherty. They actually produced quite a lot of runs there at the end of that game. Also, Justin Smoke continues to suck.
Yeah,
I'm sorry about that trade.
What's going on there?
Yeah, he's just a first baseman with no power. He does have plate discipline a little bit. I mean, he has a decent OBP, but I don't know. He just, last few years, he's not done anything.
Yeah. You bring up the game yesterday, and it's kind of an interesting situation for the Mariners. They bring in all these veterans in the off season, but they promote Brandon Maurer from Double-A. He never pitched a single game at Triple-A, and he's the one who started the game last night. And he started off the season just terrible, but his last few starts, he's gotten on track. He beat the Rangers, he beat the Angels, but there's been some interesting splits emerging where he just can't get lefties out. Are the Orioles pretty lefty heavy in their lineup? Did they stack their lineup with lefties and pummel him, or was he just off?
I'm not sure about last night's game, but I mean, there's Wieters, who's a switch hitter. There's Chris Davis, who's a lefty. Flaherty started, I assume, yesterday because he's a lefty.
Okay.
So there's those three. In McLeod.
What about between Reimold and McLeod?
Yeah. So actually, Chris Dickerson got the start, which made sense because I think he so he got the start in right field. Markakis was DHing, which made sense with the matchup.
Yeah.
And we'll platoon Reimold and McLeod there because McLeod is a lefty, Reimold a righty.
Yeah,
right?
and that's what I guess Buck's done this season. McLeod, if you look at his stats, he's been great, and I think that's mostly because of the platoon that he has with Reimold. It's not just because he's doing great; it's because Buck set him up for that situation to succeed.
Yeah, and I think that's something the Orioles do really well that the Mariners are lacking with Eric Wedge as a manager. He just kind of doesn't make kind of these statistically based decisions during the game and says, I've got a veteran who's done this for 15 years. He'll be able to do it. And just they don't have the bat speed and the athleticism anymore. And it's tough as a fan who's cheering for these young guys and the athletes. But I don't know.
Well, hey, we're used to that as Orioles fans. There was Dave Tremblay for a while, who you like Dave Tremblay, but statistically and in-game manager lacking.
Well, and then we also had players like David Segui and Marty Cordova on our team, so that we know all about the veterans that aren't good at baseball anymore.
Yeah,
I was reading a Mariners blog the other day. I was reading this blog, and they talked about how Raul Ibanez came on the team and did what he was brought in for. He gave people high fives in the dugout. That's kind of what it's boiled down to.
All right. Well, while we're looking at individual players, we'll do a little buy-sell-ish thing here. Instead of buy-sell, we'll call it stand poor or sit well. So we're going to stand poor or sit well a couple players so far this season. See if you're buying what they've done so far, if they're going to keep it up the rest of the season, or if they're going to come back. So stand poor being Lucille II's company, who bought up the Bluth company stock, and of course Sitwell, the rival company of the Bluths. So stand poor or sit well. We'll start with you, Chris.
Wait, so stand poor is good.
Stand poor is bad. So I guess we set well or stand poor.
Set well.
Poor and well.
All right.
Those words.
I'm ready.
So we'll start off for Chris Knightsey. Chris Davis, stand poor or sit well.
Sit well.
And you can give a little blurb.
I see he's continued. It's basically the on-base percentage. He's getting the walks, and I think he can keep that up.
A lot of walks. All right, stand poor or sit well, Ben, for Felix Hernandez.
Sit well. He's one of the most dominant pitchers in the game. When he wants to win a game, he'll win it unless the offense can't pull it out for him.
All right, Charlie. Wei-Yin Chen.
Wei-Yin Chen, you know what? I'm going to say sit well. He's not going deep into games, which is,
Who is,
and also that's something that tends to be true of a lot of pitchers from the Far East because there are 6-man rotations out there. But when he has been pitching, he's been pitching pretty effectively and pitching himself out of trouble.
Except tonight.
All right. Back to Chris. Pedro Strop.
Pedro Strop, stand well.
Wait, what?
God. What was the first option?
That's not it.
Stand poor.
You've made a huge mistake.
Stand poor.
This may or may not. This whole thing may or may not have been a huge mistake. Okay, so where are we going?
Yeah, so Pedro Strop going stand poor. Pedro Strop is just. I love the guy, especially what he did last year. But he's all about it's all about his control, and he does not have that right now. I assume eventually he will get it, but I don't know when. So I'm going stand poor.
All right, Ben. Back to the Mariners here. Kyle Seager.
It's a tough one. I'm going.
He's a youngin'.
I'm going stand poor. Yeah. I think the best position player on the Mariners, but I don't think he's an elite third baseman.
He's leading your team in RBI.
You don't have to. He doesn't have to be elite to buy what he's selling.
As well as runs, as well as hits.
The Mariners have a terrible team of position players this year. He's the best among them, and he's probably top half in the league or whatever. But I mean, I don't know. There's plenty of guys I would rather have above him.
And finally, Charlie, end us off with Nate McLouth.
You know, I want this to be real. I think that as Ben was saying, for the most part, Buck Showalter really plays percentages super intelligently, and that's a huge advantage for us. And I think that Nate McLouth in a platoon situation is going to continue this to some degree. I also think sometimes we're going to see him make a throw like he made last night, and some sort of like weird outfield adventures where he dives when he doesn't need to or doesn't dive when he should. But in terms of at the plate, I think he's going to some degree stand well, sit well, sit well, sit well.
So
this is your fault, Chris.
So this didn't go exactly as I thought, but no, it was good. So with McLouth, what I find is I thought it was more of a pure platoon situation with Reimold. They've both played 23 games, and the highest anyone else on the Orioles have played is 27 games. So they're getting a lot. It's like a lot more than a split there. So it's he's only 4 games off of what Chris Davis, Machado, Markakis, and Hardy have played. Yet he's keeping up a decent pace.
Yeah,
so I don't
actually,
know if we can take away.
Mike Morse with a 2-run homer.
Yeah, shut up.
That's not good.
So actually, I saw a very interesting quote. I don't remember what it actually was. It was from Buck, and it was in relation to what McLouth's doing, and he's basically echoing everyone's thoughts. Is it the situation he's put in by Buck, or is it basically is he actually just doing this because he's back to his career year of in 2009? Is he successful because Buck's giving him the platoon, or is he just that good right now? That's kind of our question.
Let's go ahead and get to some fan mail. We got so much fan mail, which is part of the reason why it took so long for us to get to this next podcast. We're reading through all the fan mail. It's getting to our heads. So we'll start with this gem from Kenny Johns of somewhere. Writes in, "Hey, Orioles Spastics crew. As you know, the Phillies are off to a rough start. We all know that. And I'm a long-time Phillies sports fan, but only started watching baseball after the 2000 World Series win. So I am afraid that I'm ill-equipped for the emotional trauma of 158 more games of this." So this was written a couple weeks ago.
4 games in.
So as lifetime Orioles fans, are there any survival tips you can give to someone in his situation? Anyone care to comment?
I would say gin, lemonade, iced tea.
Do we have the proper ratios to the Gin Palmer yet?
1 to 1 to 1.
Yeah, see, I just out and not really know what I went with. I don't think it was that.
That's a lot. That's a lot. I would say find. There's 2 things you can do. Find a young player, get really obsessed about how good they could be. When they don't live up to it, just pretend like they're going through growing pains and ignore all the other young players in the league that are being really successful despite being younger. That's definitely the best thing. The other thing to do is find the really bad players on your team and just glorify them. So Brandon Fahey, for example, we had a very bad utility infielder starting in left field for us for a long time. Just revel in it. Just soak it up.
Or
Brandon
Luis
Fahey.
Hernandez.
And make claims that you like what he brings to the team, as Charlie often does with Brandon Fahey.
He
Freddie Bynum?
He brought something special for us. Freddie Boom Boom Bynum, for example.
Boom, boom.
Boom Boom.
Luis Hernandez, our starting shortstop.
Our
starting
shortstop.
Sharding. So Kenny also asks, what Arrested Development quotes would you recommend to someone in my situation?
Ooh.
This could take a little more thought.
Well, do you remember that time where Steve Holt is so happy
Steve Holt
found out that Job is his dad? And then he hugs him and he says, "I'm not going to forget this, Dad." And Job takes a roofie and says, "I will, son. I will." That's what you need to do. You need to just roofie yourself after every game. And
I think from a
do not support or deny the
Condone.
implications to
take this and love us again.
your drug use.
I think from a Seattle perspective, you've got to learn to love the off season, appreciate both the trades you make and the trades you don't make, and when it ends up wrong, just be willing to brand the GM a Mr. F.
All right, with that, we're going to
perfect.
conclude this episode of the Orioles Spastics. Our opening theme song provided by Jeff Waters. Follow him at Jeff Waters Music on Twitter. So for myself, Dean Eastlake, Charlie Hoppus, Chris Knightsey, our guest star today, Ben Fisher, I'd like to thank you for listening. And remember to drink responsibly.